guys, how are you doing? Happy Memorial Day. I don't know if you guys have plans or you can't have plans because it's still like everyone's on lockdown. We went out to dinner last night for the first time in like months. It was very exciting. So it just felt weird to like be at a restaurant again. So I don't know if you guys have done that yet, but I guess the protocol is, well, here at least in San Diego, is you still have to wear your face mask the whole time until you actually sit down at your table, and then you can take your face mask off, because obviously you can't eat and drink with your face mask on. And then when you're done eating and you are like going to get up from your seat and walk to the out of the restaurant, then you have to put it back on. So I didn't realize that. Anyways, who do we have here today? I don't know, is anyone following me on Instagram? I'm like posting like 20 times a day. I think just lonely and just wanted to connect with people. So I'm on Insta stories all the time. If you are on Instagram, come follow me, come chat with me. But I had put up, because I always do this, right? Like I always move it because I'm like, oh, I forgot it's a holiday, or it's, I don't know, something else is going on. And I know it's Memorial Day, but I was like, you know what? We're just going to go ahead anyway, because I really don't think there's a lot to do today. Or at least from my perspective. So let's see, we have Natalie, super excited, awesome. Darlene, hi from Halifax, Canada. Been looking forward to this one, cool. Good afternoon from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, LaDonna. Pamela, good afternoon. LaDonna, so excited, already got the planner because I know the quality and it's a fabulous design. Oh, thanks, you're so sweet. Darlene, I'm doing the same thing. You guys are awesome. Yeah, so the buy link is down below. The discount code is on there. It's business47, so you can get it for $47 for the rest of this week until Friday. Hi, everyone, looking forward to this one as well. Donna with your Canadian flags. I didn't even know you could put flags in here. That's pretty cool. Marilyn, hey from hot and sizzling Arizona. You know what's funny, Marilyn? All of my friends here have gone to Arizona because your restaurants open up first and everyone's just so bored at home. And everyone's like, let's go to Arizona. I was like, I can't. I'm launching the business planner on Monday. But yeah, everyone is over there and things are much more exciting and open and fun and happening in Arizona. Devora, hi all. I just read on the sales page that we can use this as a template. So we can use to create PDF or physical products to sell. I didn't know that. Am I reading that correctly? Yeah, Devora, you can use this to do anything you want. You can have it printed. You can sell it as a printable. You can, sell it as a digital download. You can edit it. You can do anything you want. The only thing you can't do is compete with me. So I sell these InDesign templates. So you just can't sell it as your own InDesign template, if that makes sense, where people can buy it. That's why I don't sell any planners. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I don't sell planners. I don't compete with you guys. I only want to create templates to help you guys sell stuff. So Devora, I hope that answers the question, but let me know if you have anything else. Marilyn, I'm right on the Colorado River and the record number of people hanging out on the beaches and jet skis and boating. Yeah, the beaches here are open, but they're still maintaining that 6-foot distance rule and you can't hang out. You can only like move or walk or whatever. So not that that's bad, but I am not a beach runner. I tried running the other day. Like I do, when I say running, I do like 1 minute of running, 3 minutes of walking, 1 minute of running, 4 minutes of walking. So it takes me like probably 17 minutes to run a mile. Marilyn, I saw your Insta story and couldn't believe the hate mail you got from Untitled people. Oh yeah, it was that quick. I was just like, nobody believes. I was like, I posted a couple things because yeah. So you can't win them all, right? Charisse, hey, Charisse from DC. Pamela from Maryland. LaDonna, this is a great way to spend the afternoon. Cool. Another Lisa. Hi from SoCal. Devora, heart, great. Donna, this is the only way to run. Yes, it is the only. I saw, did anyone see? It's so good. It's on, I think it's on Amazon. It's free. Brittany runs a marathon. It's so good. First of all, it's funny. But it's like heartwarming where like she's trying really hard to like change her life and she has this evil roommate who of course just happens to be Asian. And she's like that mean girl who's like trying to sabotage her diet, which is true. Like sometimes when friends try to improve, or your friends do, even if you do it involuntarily, you try to kind of sabotage them because you're just that fear that they're moving on or going somewhere better without you. So yeah, I really, really loved it. And afterwards I was like, oh, I really want to try running. But then I remembered I don't actually enjoy running. I like being in an air-conditioned gym and not having to wear sunscreen, and sweating. But let's get started. I have 3 quick announcements for you. So the first one is probably one that you're all waiting for, which is, what is the planner for June? And it looked like it was like, first of all, less people voted this time. I don't know how that happened, but we had about 169 votes, and last month we had 200. And so it was pretty close, but it looked like it was going to be the goals, like mid-year goals vision planner. And it was winning. And then all of a sudden the Christian divinity planner just took over. So that had a 42% win as of like just now when I looked at it. So that will be the new planner for next month, which will launch the last Monday of the month, like always, on Monday, June 29th, same time at 10 a.m. So hopefully you really wanted the divinity planner. I'll try, and I say try, I'm not going to promise anything, to see if I can create a goals planner. Like last month, the resiliency, anti-stress or whatever planner won. So I do have a video, fingers crossed if I can get it edited before Thursday, where I'm coming out with just a little mini stress reduction planner for this Thursday, like a behind the scenes, like how I put it together, how I pick branding, colors, a tagline, all of that stuff. And so that planner will be for sale this Thursday. If not, if I don't make it this Thursday, then it will definitely come out next week. So if I can, because the goals planner didn't win, but it looked like a lot of people wanted that, I will definitely try to fit that in for June as well, just to sell as a planner. Probably not a whole pop-up shop, just like, here's the planner, a template. If you want it, you can just go ahead and buy it. And I'll try to do a behind the scenes also if you guys like that. So a couple people were like, yes, looks like some of you guys did vote for the divinity planner. And even if you didn't want it, I really think, like, I always talk about this, the divinity Christian planner is so huge. Like, there is a massive market for that. And I have no idea if it has to do with the statistics of the number of people who are Christian versus Jewish versus Muslim or anything. I just think for whatever reason, that particular niche area, people love getting books, right? Like if you look at Dayspring, it's an entire company just focused around people who like that message and like hearing that stuff. And I also think, I know I probably get made fun of all the time because I'm always watching the Hallmark Channel. But I really like the Hallmark Channel more so than like when I was growing up, I used to like Lifetime Channel, which is a little more like National Enquirer type of stories. But I like Hallmark because it's like a feel good, not in your face too much Christian stuff, but just everyone's positive and encouraging and supportive. And I think a lot of us are switching to want that more as a culture. And, whether it is Christian or not Christian, I think it would just be possibly nice just to have that, right? So it's not going to be Catholic or anything. It's just going to be Christian in general. And honestly, I know very little about Judaism or Muslim or Islam to really incorporate those into the planner. So 100%, it will just make more sense for me to create it as Christian based, because that's how I grew up. I think you guys know, I went to an all women's Catholic college, St. Mary's. And so I'm very familiar, so it feels super comfortable, and I'm super excited to create that. So that's what's going to happen. Donna, I saw that. I was surprised that came from behind. Yeah, I'm surprised that one too. I thought for sure, it's funny, I put on there too the manifestation planner because my friend Lauren is, very witchy, coven kind of spiritual. We have moon like awakening part. I don't even know what we're having, but so she's very into that. And she's like, put the manifestation planner. And I don't know, it didn't go that well. So it's a good thing that we switched to voting because I clearly cannot read your minds. And I never would have picked that as the planner for the month. I thought it would have been the manifestation planner, which like nobody voted for. Natalie, that would be awesome. Anxiety planner sounds great. Natalie, I agree. LaDonna, great. Yay. Okay, good. So you guys are excited about that planner. Sophia, try downloading the InDesign links for the business planner, but getting an error message yes to behind the scenes. Don't worry, I will fix that. If there is a download link, I will fix it right afterwards. I put everything on Amazon S3. I was up, I will confess, I was up last night until 1 a.m. Because I wanted to finish the digital planner for you. So usually I'm always like, oh, it'll be ready in a week or 2 weeks. It is done. So when you purchase today, you'll see that you can buy the digital planner for 50% off, and it's like, it's ready and it's there to download. Assuming I put the link, I think I put the link in there correctly. Don't worry, I promise I will fix the InDesign link. Let me know if any other links are broken. I will fix those right away. Marilyn, I voted for the Manifestation Planner. Lois, behind the scenes is always great info. Good. LaDonna, yes to behind the scenes look. Sophia, tried downloading the InDesign. Okay, got that. Lois put Christian manifestation together. And Sophia. All right, so second announcement. So that was the first announcement, is that the Christian Planner is going to be on June 29th. The second announcement is thank you so much for everyone who filled out a survey. So if you were one of the first 5, I've already sent you your $20 Erin Condren gift cards. And then this time next week on June 1st, I will pick out the other 5 randomly, because I know sometimes you're like, whenever I see those, they're like, the first 5 people get that. I'm like, well, for sure I wouldn't have made the first 5, so I don't even bother. So I will also pick another 5 by this time next Monday, and I will send you guys your 5 Erin Condren gift cards as well. So thank you so much if you took time to fill out those surveys. I very much appreciate it. So let's go ahead. Oh, third announcement is I am super behind. I'm trying to write a book, and I'm like, I just got the edits back from a revision letter back from the editor. So I'm trying to make a June 10th deadline. So because of that, I have pushed off the launch of the new website, because I still have to do a lot of things for that, till July 1. It's just not going to happen. So if you registered for the website launch party, thank you for doing that. But don't worry, it's definitely going to be at least a month. So I'm working on it, I promise. And thank you for everyone who gave me feedback, because I sent it out to a couple people. Elise, I wasn't one of the first 5. Elise, you were close. I remember your name, Elise. Donna, I voted for the Manifestation Planner too, and Goals was a close second. Go figure. I know, right? All right, so those are all my announcements. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the planner, which apparently you can't download, which I promise I will fix. So we are going to go. I'm just going to share my whole screen, because sometimes when I don't share the whole screen, you can't see everything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over here to, okay, so this is the digital planner. So we're going to go into first the main planner. So let me move this. Oh, I know what happened. I was on my big 34-inch wide monitor, and because of that, it makes the application 34 inches wide. There we go. All right, so let's try this again. Window, pages. Oh, it's the beach ball of death. There we go. Okay, so this is one of 5 different covers. I just like to give you different options. I don't know, something might appeal to you, something might not appeal to you. And remember, you can mix and match these covers super easy. So if you want to replace this cover, all you have to do is go File, Place, and then just select the one of the other 5 covers that are 4 covers that I've given you. They're inside of your graphics pack. So let's go down. I'm going to walk you through this. It's 100 pages, so it is a lot, but I'll just kind of walk you through kind of like the thought process that I had. And this is, if you're in Boss School, you'll recognize a lot of these pages because they are the same, but some things have been changed. So this, I just thought this was cute. I know I'm like, it's hard to say like who likes illustrations and who doesn't, but you'll notice the top of each of the pages has that border that matches the front cover. So if you go over here where it says leopard print, hopefully that's obvious. Up here is the leopard print in master pages. And if you don't see master pages, just go to window and make sure that pages is selected. And then everything that's above the like line here at the, or wherever it is, you can kind of move it up or down, is your master pages. And then everything below is actual like real pages. So this is kind of like an index to whatever you want to see in the bigger, large working space. If you want to change these, you can change those to use, if you use a different cover, just use that same cover and put that pattern inside of there, so it all matches. So like this one is the regular planner. The digital planner, let me try to show you at the top. I went with a different cover. I used the cheetah print, and it has a little bit of a different logo. And so I changed the top. So the top all has that cheetah print logo, so it all kind of matches. All right. Okay, so this is just for them to put their name in. This is your table of contents. So I went through 8 big sections, and it's really a good overview, but not too in-depth. I mean, to really put together like really in-depth business plans, I really don't think you can do that in the beginning until you like start getting in and doing stuff, right? Like I started out as a fitness company, training people. That's not what I do at all. So, you know, I think you need to do a little bit of trial and error before you waste too much time on a business plan, in my opinion. I tried to sprinkle some statistics inside of here, as well as a lot of quotes, some directions on how to use this. And over here, so you won't see a lot of these pictures with the quotes underneath. It's usually more of the larger picture, like this one here, where it takes up the whole page. So it's just a different style that I had used for this particular planner. So each section starts with its own little page. It just has a little pencil. That's just kind of the style that I use for this one. And the title is over here and it's vertical upwards. So over here, so the first one is just trying to decide what to do. And, you know, you can change this. I would say if you have your own methodology of, and let's say you're a business coach, right? And you're like, I really just want to make sure that everybody is understanding how I go about picking out my passion. And let me make sure there's no chat soon. Oh, wait. So we can't see your screen. You can't see my screen. You are screen sharing. So you guys can't see Adobe InDesign? No one can see it. That's really weird. It says you are screen sharing. No, I'm not screen sharing. All right, let me try again. Screen share. All right, can you guys see Adobe InDesign now? Yes, you can. Okay. Good thing I checked. I was like, I kind of felt, I was like, I wonder if I should check and see if there is. Okay. All right, so here we are again. Let's try again. Really quick. So here's the cover. If you want to replace it, you're going to go to File, Place. And then you'll see that you can just swap in any of the covers that came in the social media pack. So like over here with the digital planner, you can see that I used the leopard, or no, is it leopard? It's cheetah. Leopards, cheetahs, and tigers, they're all different patterns. I think this is the leopard, and I think this is the tiger. So over here, what I did is on the top, I changed the formatting over here. All right, so let's go again really quick. If you can't see the pages over here, just make sure you go to window and you make sure pages is selected. And then you're gonna be able to see master pages on the top and then regular pages on the bottom. So each of these you can see, if you hover over it, it says leopard print applied. That means the leopard print has been applied. So this is, I guess this is the leopard. So over here is the leopard print master page. And so this one is right here. All you have to do is select this, and just like the cover, just do File, Place, and replace it, and you can replace it with something. Check the comments. Okay. All right, so let's go back through. All right, so here's the illustration. You got 100 pages. This is the page where you put in, your information. This is the table of contents. And as I was saying before, most of them don't do the that other style I usually do, which is a picture with a quote underneath. Instead, it's a full page quote like this, or full page image with the quote inside of there. And most of them don't have quotes. This one has more statistics because I thought it would just be more interesting or help motivate people a little bit more, especially when you're doing a business plan. So how to use this. And then each new section starts like this. Has a little pencil, tells you what the purpose of the section is for, and then the name of that section is over here on the vertical on the right side. So this is what I was saying before I found out you can't see anything that I was showing you, is this is Brendan Bouchard. So I just really liked his methodology. I actually don't have a methodology to pick what you really want. Mine is really just to fail really fast, like just try things out. You aren't going to know, in my opinion, unless you do things, right? So like, even though I wasted a year in medical school, I know that I don't want to be a doctor, right? But I probably wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried. Same thing with, being an online fitness coach. I wouldn't have known that if I had not tried. So, I think, like I said, I don't think too much time should be wasted in the prep time. But if you have your own methodology and you're a business coach or you're a revenue coach or you like to guide people through a specific process, then I would replace all of these steps with your own process and your own sort of methodology on how you would help people to get to that answer. So that's all of this is. This over here is section 2. So this is more just starting out with a clean slate. So I've noticed that I haven't done a lot of one-on-one coaching because that's just not like my specialty. But every time I do, it is always a huge, just like victim complaint session on all the things that went wrong and all the reasons why they're going to fail. And I don't think people are negative. I think they're kind of like their own worst enemy and they're psyching themselves out. So they have all of these feelings, despite all of my positivity, these thoughts are still there. So why not just get them down on paper? So that's what this is, your worries, your past failures, like just go ahead and say them, because I promise everyone wants to talk about them. And then it says, just throw this page away. So obviously in the digital planner, you can't tear the page up and throw it away. So I just said, cross it all out with a red marker. So that's the only thing different in the digital planner versus inside of this planner. This is the big picture. Actually, I don't know if anyone has ever heard Jamie Kern Lima ever speak. She is an excellent speaker, but she is, I think, one of the only billionaire women, self-made billionaires that I know of. And I don't know if the Spanx woman is, probably she is, but I really just liked Jamie Kern Lima and her message and her personality, and I just way more identified with her. So she has a really good interview. If you go to her Instagram, and there's a link in her bio that links to an interview she did, a podcast with Amy Porterfield. But it's really good. It's a great story. And I just like it because it was like a ton of rejection, right? Like just failure after failure until she finally made it. So, and then I was telling someone else too, like someone else copied everything from her and they still didn't do as well as her. So, it's like my dad always says, liars and cheaters never win. So don't worry if like things don't go your way. All right. So this just kind of goes through, your elevator pitch, how to network, your one-page business plan, like just boil it down, all of your ideas into a single succinct page. This is the business model canvas, if you've never seen this. And this is, there's an example here from Uber, but this is really popular. A lot of people do this. It just kind of helps you think through what's coming in the pipeline, what's going out, who your customers are, where to find them. And then of course, this is my take on it. And you can obviously put your own, but this is what I would I put people through when I do one-on-one coaching and we try to put together their business plan. This is my short and easy to kind of get them up and going. This is the concept of the BHAG, which I love. It's called your big, hairy, audacious goal. And it goes through some examples here. And these are more like mantras. Like, I think a Nike's goal was crush Adidas, which is kind of funny now because like Adidas is tiny and Nike's huge. And if anyone saw the special with Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, he talks about how he really wanted, I think it was Adidas or Reebok or something like that, as the company he was going to be an endorsement for. And they didn't want him. And so they really just like, they were like, this isn't going to work. You know, we are more into teams, not into endorsing a single person. This is back like the 90s. And so instead, he signed with Nike, and Nike, like, obviously the Air Jordans were super popular, and he did not want to meet with them. He hated Nike. They were like this tiny, crappy company that no one really thought about back then. And so I guess his parents had talked him into talking to Nike, but otherwise the Air Jordans might never have come to be. So the whole point of that is that Nike's goal was to crush Adidas. That was like their big, hairy, audacious goal. And it kind of worked out well for them. So BHAGs are more like when you hire new employees or you talk to people, they're like, well, what's the ultimate goal? And you're like, I am so going to put Erin Condren out of business, right? If you make planners. Or I am going to be the next Cultivate What Matters, or I'm going to be in Target stores all across America. You know, whatever your vision is for that big, hairy, audacious goal, that's what that is. And that's why this is like, I think, the most powerful goal. Hedgehog concept just means that it's trying to put together, you know, everything you want to do, right? So like, I love baking. It is not profitable. I was talking last night with my boyfriend at dinner, and I was like, you know, I would love to start a home-based cookie delivery company. And, you know, he owns a restaurant. He was like, that is an awful idea. And he's like, it's not going to be making any money. So we went through the numbers, and he's like, that's just terrible. But what's my point? Oh, so the hedgehog concept is trying to take all of those things that you love doing, right? Like I love knitting and crocheting and like things that aren't going to make a lot of cash, right? It's going to take me forever to crochet a blanket, and the demand for a handmade crocheted blanket is pretty low, right? So, you know, this is what the hedgehog concept is trying to get at. And this is just a simple 5-year vision page. Over here is module 4, your KSAs, which is knowledge, skills, and abilities, and kind of your schedule for doing everything. So this kind of goes through your day job. I spent a little time on education, not a lot. It is a big pet peeve of mine when people are always bragging about how they are a college dropout and they don't need school. And that's fine for you. It doesn't mean like the rest of us who have an education are losers. And sometimes I feel like that's what it implies. Like if you were smarter, you would have had $1 million industry right out of high school, right? You would have been working on something in junior high, and your YouTube channel now would have 2 million subscribers because you had started it when you were 10. And I think that is great for some people if it works out that way. But for the rest of us, you know, I loved just being in high school and being like doing stupid things like trying out for cheerleading and going to college and just going to parties or doing nothing and hanging out with my friends. I don't know. I still think there's a lot of value in an education, and it's not even the education itself. I think it's just, you know, you're figuring out who you are and you're meeting friends and you're also having a really great experience. So that's all I'll say about that. Day job, like I always said, you don't have to quit your day job. Another big pet peeve of mine is, you know, how everyone's like, you have to quit, or if you hate your job, you don't hate your, like I never hated my day job. I love doing human resources, and I would be perfectly happy going back to doing it again. So, you know, sometimes people just want to do a side hustle, right? Like I'm sure if I was doing HR and I wanted to do a side hustle of selling cookies, probably that would make sense, right? With everything, with the financials, because I would be making so much from my day job, and I could just do cookies maybe like on the weekends or something. So, you know, everything will work. It just depends on how you want it to fit into your overall life. So that's why we talk about schedule. The biggest part for me when I started working for myself was all the free time, and all of my friends were like, why can't you just leave? You don't have a job. Let's just go shopping or to the mall or out skiing for the weekend or whatever it was, right? So having a schedule is really important. Inspiration and motivation, just talking about the differences between those two, because motivation is more like that carrot and stick to say, okay, I'm going to give myself a cupcake. This could just be me. I'm going to give myself a cupcake if I make it through whatever for this, the day, or I make that particular goal for the hour, versus inspiration is like, I'm so passionate about creating a online repository of templates for people. That's what kind of gets me up in the morning, and it doesn't matter if I have a cupcake or not. It's just something I'm like passion fueled to do. So this is you're the boss, working your hours. And then we jump into the next section. Whoops. It's flicking, which is your business basics. So over here, a lot of things that people think about instantly, which is a legal entity. They think about financials. Then we talk about naming your business. So hopefully at this point, people kind of have an idea of what they want to do. There are different ways to name things. And so through here, I've gone through, I think like 7 or 8 options. Your institution, your personal brand, your services, right? There's a ton of different ways to kind of stand out and differentiate yourself. And then over here is personal finance. So I think all of you know this. I had $190,000 in debt because I had credit cards, I had student loans, and I had honestly a lot of fun in my 20s. Like I remember there was a party one weekend my friend Natasha was having in Malaysia, and she's like, do you want to come? And it was like a Wednesday or something. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, just jump on a plane tomorrow. You can be here by the time like 5 o'clock. We'll get dinner, we'll go out. And so I did. And so, that was pretty much, my 20s were all about just having fun. And I really wasn't thinking about the future, which is why it's always surprising to me when people nowadays, like millennials, like everyone's kind of trashing them, like they're not smart. They're way more responsible than my generation ever was, right? So I was never, ever thinking about a side business or a side hustle. Like, please, after work, all I wanted to do was meet up with my friends for happy hour. Maybe once in a while go to the gym or go do something fun or go to I was just all about having fun. So anyways, all of that fun costs a lot of money. And so I waited until I was completely debt free and had 4 years worth of salary saved up before I started a business. I really think, it's hard. I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it's difficult to start a business when you are in debt. And I think if you don't have a life partner, which I've always been single and on my own, but I've always been able to support myself, right? So, I think if you have a life partner where you could say, hey, why don't you take over some of the expenses while I try to run this business? Like, honestly, that would be a dream. But I think that could be a really great way to help finance things. I didn't really talk about that a lot in here because that really wasn't something I did. And that may not be an option for you either. But 100%, as soon as I got rid of stuff, that's why I talk about minimalism here. As soon as I got rid of all of my stuff, which sounds counterintuitive, I paid off the debt so quickly and saved up a ton of money. And I think it's just letting go of having things or valuing things or wanting things, right? Like everywhere I traveled, I had to get like a trinket as a souvenir. I don't need souvenirs. I have thrown away every single souvenir from every single country that I've ever been in because it just weighs you down. Because every time you go to a new apartment or a new city or relocate, I'm like taking all of my junk from one place to the other. So that's all I'll say about that. All right, so revenue goals, we're in the last section. So this talks about, I know some people, like my friend Camila, loves doing her own books. She likes doing QuickBooks and looking at every single line item, calculating her own taxes. To me, that's a nightmare. And I think it's like the worst use of my time ever, but she loves it. So if you are like her and she thinks she gets, she feels like, and that's true for her, that she has better revenue and profitability because she's paying more attention to the numbers. And that could be true. And so all of this is to say, if you want to learn how to do a balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, owner's equity, all of that. It's all here if you want to just copy and paste that. Otherwise, people could just use a service or hire an accountant. And then that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys can still see the screen. Let me see if anyone's in. Okay. Lois, what size paper do we print on? Everything I make is 8.5 by 11. However, A5, B5 are very popular, and you can easily resize these using liquid layouts. So if you just Google on my channel how to resize pages in Adobe InDesign, it comes with two things. One, there's a download in there for page sizes, standard page sizes, because I know B6, sometimes I don't even remember. I have to look at it. I don't know what an A6 is. And so it'll tell you all the page sizes, and then liquid layout is only available for the new Creative Cloud subscription-based version of Adobe InDesign. If you have one of the older versions where you're using that IDML file, I have no idea. I don't think liquid layout works, and I have no idea how to resize the pages, but this will just do it in a couple seconds for you. So you can do whatever size paper you want. Donna, failing fast is pretty good methodology. Good. Yeah, I think so. Can the images be switched out? The photos of people. Okay, that's awesome. Spontaneous trip to Malaysia. Yes, they can be swapped out. So let's say you want to, so two things I always tell people, I'm not able to resell you fonts. If I could, I would totally give you the fonts. I don't even care. But obviously people who create fonts put a lot of work and effort into them. So you always get the font information with links to where to download them. Now, this is a script font. You could use any other font, right? I think what happens, if you don't have the font that's used in the file, you will probably, for some reason, Adobe will pick out like the ugliest font in the world, right? That's just Murphy's Law. And it will use that font inside of your file when you open it. So if you don't want that font, I would just find another font that you possibly own that is something equivalent. So if I go to, so I use Marshmallow. So if I go to Marshmallow and I go over here to this, there should be a button. Oops. That I don't see it. That usually says like. It has ones that are similar. Oh, I know. Maybe it's because I am not in the type tool. Oh, let's see. Window, styles, character styles. Nope. All right. So just kidding about that. Oh, there it is. All right. So over here, when you hover on it, it says show similar fonts, that little like squiggly line. So if you hit that, so you can see Truly Lully is similar. Fastasia, Pinot, Think Pink, Steadfast. So these are just the ones that I personally happen to have on my computer that are similar. You may have others that are similar. So you could change any of those fonts, but that was not your question. Your question was about images. So the images, if you go, because I cannot give you the Adobe stock files. If I could give you a file, if it was free or got it from somewhere else, you'll see it inside your links folder. So if you go over here and say any picture you want to change, just highlight it. And you can go to File, Place, and then you can select any other picture in the whole world that you want to replace it with. I don't think I have any. Let's see, what is that? That's a cover, right? So it'll just replace it with whatever you selected in that same dimensions that you have already selected for that picture, if you select it first and do File, Place. Another thing that you can do is if you go over to Window and you go to Links, you will see, so inside of here, I don't have any of those like exclamation warning signs because I have all of the Adobe files. But if you see one of those and there's a picture that you really want, you can just make this a little wider. So let's say I really want this picture, right? And I don't have it. So I can just write that down. And I know that that is Adobe, it's a really long number. 1-877-603-225. So if I write that down and then I go over to the Adobe website, So I go to stock and let me share. Tab. Okay, so if I go over here and I type in that number 187603225, it will bring up that exact same picture of that number that I put in. So if you were like, I don't have time to look through a bunch of Adobe stock photos, just let me use the same exact ones you have, you can go ahead and just go to stock.adobe.com and then buy them that way. That's usually the easiest way. Otherwise, obviously, you can pick your own images as well. So I hope that answered your question. Renee, can you please tell us the number of pictures we need to purchase or replace for this planner? I don't know. Let's check. Let's look at the links file. It is 30. There are 30 Adobe stock images that were used in here. Charisse, I am new to InDesign and making planners. If I pay for Creative Cloud and download purchase photos from Adobe stock, am I able to use those? Same with Adobe fonts. Yes. So here's how stocks, photos and fonts are totally different. So if you are downloading photos from Adobe stock, you can buy a membership, and I believe you get 10 photos per month, and then you can use those. If you are needing more than 10 photos, you can just buy them, I believe, per photo, or just increase the number of things that you have. Let's see. I'm already in there, so I don't know Adobe stock pricing. Adobe stock videos. That wasn't helpful. All right, so it is pretty pricey, $79 per month for 40 pictures. Yeah, so they're not cheap. So another alternative you could do is deposit photos. Usually I think you pay $100 and then you get 100 photos. So it's like $1 per photo. I've just found that they pretty much have the same photos. It's just a little harder to, what am I trying to say? It's just a little harder for me to find the photos that I want on deposit photos. So that's why I always just use Adobe stock. Oh, fonts. Okay, Charisse. So fonts. So fonts are different. Adobe fonts, if you have a subscription to the Creative Cloud, you get Adobe fonts for free. So the way it works is you download fonts from Typekit. So if you're not familiar with Typekit, I have a tutorial on my channel on Adobe fonts and how to use them. Sorry, yeah, how to install Adobe Typekit fonts. So you can, I keep sharing things and you guys can't see them. There we go. So how to install Adobe Typekit, Adobe fonts, and it's specifically for Adobe InDesign. So you can use all of the Adobe fonts for free. I know sometimes it's just kind of confusing, like how do I get access to those free fonts? So I have like a quick tutorial, I think it's like 2 minutes, that'll show you how to use those. Sophia, yes, it would be nice to know how many pictures we need to replace, the formats, panoramic. Yeah, 30. And then just look up those numbers and you have all the photos. Donna, yes, thank you. Charisse, I have the membership. I have like 80 credits saved. Yeah, it's true. If you don't download those photos, I think they just kind of build up after a while. So let's see. I lost the mouse. You guys have questions at the bottom. There we go. Question. Not showing the planner from Darlene. Thanks. So that must be from earlier when I wasn't showing anything. Lois, your screen is not showing. Natalie, I want to make sure I do this right, but can we use the images and samples you have in the planner when selling ours? Yeah, you can use all of them. So here's usually what happens with images. You can't sell images as is, right? Like otherwise you're like a photo reseller. But if they're part of a completed design, like your planner, then you can sell them, right? Because they're part of your PDF. It's not like people could pull the image out. Or it's like when you do book covers, right? So most people use Adobe stock photos or deposit photos for book covers, and they are able to sell those because people can't take that photo, even if it's an ebook, and then reuse it, right? So you've done something in theory to the photo so that it can't be reused. Let's see. Lois, do you use many of the Adobe fonts? I do not ever use Adobe fonts. Like sometimes I might on accident. I think for this one, we use the Adobe Caslon Carlson Pro font, but otherwise I don't. I usually buy premium fonts through Creative Market. Natalie, awesome, thanks. Donna, so to be clear, when we buy the templates, but don't have the photos or fonts, it will just show these warning signs until we purchase the photos. That's correct. Yeah. It will still open it. So again, fonts and photos are different. Adobe, if it doesn't have the photo, it will still show you the photo, but it will have that warning sign and you can't really edit it. And I think when you go to save it out, it'll just be empty. As far as fonts, if Adobe doesn't have that font, they will do one of two things. They'll try to make a best guess. And like I said, the best guess is usually always something just hideous, ugly, where you're like, I don't want that font. So, that's why I'm saying just look through the fonts that you have in your own library and try to pick something that's similar, or just buy that font ahead of time. Now, remember, if you buy fonts, you have to restart Adobe in order for those fonts to show up inside of the font list. So you can't have Adobe open, buy a font, install it. It's not going to automatically open. You have to shut down the application and restart it. I usually just restart my whole computer just to be safe. And sometimes I notice in this, it might have been fixed, but if I have Photoshop open, but I have InDesign closed and I open up InDesign, it still won't pick up that new font. I usually have to shut down all of the Adobe applications and then reopen up InDesign. So it depends. Dawn, great, thanks. Ugly font is probably a strategic choice by Adobe, right? They're like, buy our extra fonts, don't use the free ones. All right, so I'm going to show you the digital planner really quick. And let's see if I can share my screen. Hopefully you can see this. Let me shut this down. Girl boss. And don't worry, I promise as soon as we get off this call, I will fix the link and make sure that it works. This is the digital planner. Let me check. Can you see it? Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so yes, this is a different cover. And I used a pink spiral coil for this. Now remember, digital planners work differently than the regular planners. So these are fake planners, if that makes sense. Like I faked everything out. Like the coil is fake, the tabs are fake, right? So you see how you see these dotted lines around the tabs? It's because they are hyperlinked to the pages so that it automatically goes there. So up here at the top, and again, if you can't see this, just go to Window, go to Pages, and the top half is all of your master pages. So this is the master page for one, because it has all of the links inside of here and the tab over here to the right. Then for two, right? So it looks like in theory, the planner opened and flipped over to the second side. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., and so on. So if you look over here, you can see which master page has been applied. So if I hover over this, it says 3, tab 3 applied. So we know we're in section number 3. If I scroll down a little further, I'm going to see 4, tab 4 applied. So I know that I'm in section 4. Now, if you want to make edits to this, it works the same as before. The only difference is, let's say I want to swap this image out, right? So make sure that this the selection tool is selected, and then select that image that you want to swap out and go to File, go to Place, and then pick something out. Let's pick out that same weird cover, and it'll put it in there perfectly. Now you'll notice when I say perfectly, it is underneath this spiral coil in the center. So this spiral coil, say moving it around, it's totally fake. right? So if you put an image on top of it, it's not going to look as real as it should. So just make sure when you place images, you place them underneath. Now, if you want to place a new image and you want it to go underneath this coil over here, so let's say I go to File, Place, and I want to place this back cover for whatever reason. I'm going to make sure let's say I hover it over here. I want it to go right to the edge of that page. And you'll see it's on top of the coil. So it's completely wrong. The whole magic and facade that this is a spiral planner has now been like ruined, right? So it's really easy to fix. Just make sure the spiral is always on top, no matter what. So my suggestion would be make whatever edits you want. And then on that page, the very last step is to select that spiral coil, go to right click it, arrange, and just say bring to front. And once you bring it to front, now it's in front of there, so it looks like the coil's on top of everything. So all you have to do to replace images. Replacing text or anything else like that works exactly the same. You're just going to go over here. You can change this to any font that you want. Fonts, images, what else do I want to tell you? Okay, adding extra pages. Be very careful when you add extra pages that you add them correctly. So if you notice, every time I have a digital file, if I go over here to Adobe InDesign, I go to Preferences and I go to General, page numbering, there's absolute numbering and section numbering. Absolute numbering is usually the default on Adobe InDesign. Unless you have one of my digital planner files, the default is section numbering. If you have absolute numbering, you cannot create a digital planner. You have to have section numbering because that's how the hyperlinks work. The hyperlink for 7 goes to section 7. I know, very, very difficult math. The hyperlink for section 6 goes to, or the hyperlink for tab 6 goes to section 6. So how do you know what a section is? Inside of here, you'll see 0.4 and then 0.5, and then we jump to section 1.1 because it's a new section. So think of the first number as the number of the section. The second number is the page number. So you have 1.1, then you have 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and then we jump to the second section, which is 2. So you can see that 2 over here, and then 1 is over here for the tab. But if I jump over here to section 1, I still have 1 over here on the right because we're still in section 1. So if I want to add pages to section 1, I will go to the very last page of section 1, and I will say Insert Pages, and it'll say, let's say I want to insert 5 pages, and I'm going to say right after page 1.4, right? And I'm going to base it on master tab 1 because I still want it to be inside section 1. So I'm going to say okay. So now when I go down here, I'm going to see page 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, etc. And then if I added more, it'd be 1.10, 1.11. So that's how you add pages inside of a digital planner, which is very different than inside of a regular planner because you need to keep the numbers correct so that the correct tabs are lined up inside of your digital planner. What else do I want to tell you? Now, the second biggest thing is how to save your file. So really important, you do not save a InDesign digital planner file the same way you do a regular file. It will not work. So if I want to save this, now that I've made all these changes, all of these hyperlinks will not work unless I make sure that I save it correctly. So I go to File, and I'm going to actually export it. And when I export it, I'm going to make sure, you can put it wherever you want, that doesn't matter, that I choose Adobe PDF Interactive. The interactive part is what makes the hyperlinks work. That's all you have to remember. The other thing I wanted to mention too is I put a little button here at the top left, and it's like an icon. It just means home. So if you click home, it will always go back to this cover page. A lot of planners digital planners don't have home. I personally find that irritating, so I always put a home tab inside any of the digital planners that I create. All right, any questions? No questions. All right, we're at the top of the hour. It's almost 11 o'clock. So thank you for joining me. I know it's Memorial Day. Oh, I should have looked on YouTube. I don't know if there are any YouTube comments. Sometimes I go on Crowdcast and then I just forget. I shouldn't say sometimes. Every time I just forget. All right, Michelle Landon. I can't see it. Okay, that's from earlier. How would you add crop marking after resizing the document? From Flowtech 095. How would you add crop marking after resizing that? I think you're asking how would I add cut lines. I don't add cut lines. I think that's what you're asking. But clarify for me if it's something different. I do not have planner pages with full bleeds. But if I did, I would make the planner pages larger than they are. And then I would put just hashtags where I want the cut lines to be. So that's like a whole different lesson. But I'll show you just really quick. If I was going to make a document, so let's say it's an 8.5 by 11. Oh, I'm bad at math on the spot. So let's just say it is 9 inches by 11.5 inches. So I've added a 1/2 inch all around. And then over here with margins, I have a 1/2 inch margin all around because I added that other half. Or do I have a 0.25? I think it's 0.25. That's why I don't do math ever. The bleeds and the slugs, I actually usually ignore these. So let's just go ahead and say create. All right, so these are like, I know that inside of here, if I've done the math correctly, hold on. Let's see, am I even sharing the right screen with you? Yes, I am. Okay. When I do this, I know that I can put the planner page items here. Right? So this is where this goes. See, look at that, Minion Pro. Not an attractive font. That's what Adobe picks as the default. All right, so over here, if I'm going to add cut lines, when I add cut lines, I would line them up so they are here. And I would need to put some color on that so you can see it. So maybe there's a cut line here. That's hard to see. And then I would put another cut line over here. And those would be the cut lines for the printer. So then they knew where to cut. I think that's what you're asking, the crop marks. I could be totally wrong. I don't even know if you're still there. So you didn't say anything. Hopefully that's what you wanted. But that's all I have for you. If you guys have any questions as you get into this or you start working on it, just go ahead and drop me an email. I'm obviously around all week. No plans. I didn't go to Arizona. So I will be happy to help you. And I will fix that link for Adobe InDesign right away as soon as we get off of this call. So hope you're all having a fabulous day. And I will talk to you guys hopefully Thursday. I will have that anti-stress planner done, but being realistic, it might be probably next week instead. So I'll talk to you guys later.